Hello everyone and welcome to DC Central, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down and reviewing Arrow Season 8 Episode 4, otherwise entitled Present Tense, and if you have not seen this episode, make sure you go and do so before proceeding with this review, as it will be filled with spoilers. So at the end of 803, we got a big cliffhanger which featured the kids from the future, from the flash forwards, that of course being Mia, Connor and William, all somehow or some way got transported to 2019 to the present day in the bunker where they stood in front of their own father, of course Oliver Queen, Diggle, Renee and Dinah in the bunker in present day Star City, and this episode picks up immediately where that left off. Now I was really excited to see this episode because I thought that the idea of the kids coming to the future or to the present, I thought was a really interesting idea. Like, we knew that Mia was going to come to the present at some point because we knew that she obviously is going to be in crisis, but I didn't expect it to happen this early on, and I also didn't expect William and Connor to also come to the present as well. But given the fact that William and Connor were coming, I was really looking forward to seeing that because that could present a lot of really interesting scenes. I wanted to see how Oliver would react to seeing William again, and also how Connor would react with Diggle, because we don't really know much about how Connor's relationship with Diggle works. So I really was interested to see all of that stuff, and it definitely delivered the goods here. So I want to start off by talking about Oliver and William. Now, this was definitely the highlight of the episode for me. Like I said, I was really excited to see Oliver actually interact with William, because obviously William is a pre-established character on the show. We met William when he was a teenager, when he was a kid, so seeing him as an adult, we have seen that progress of that character in some sense. So knowing that them two have a history, it was quite interesting to see how they were going to react to one another, because obviously with Mia, Oliver has never really met Mia. I mean, obviously he has, but not really, she was a baby and that's it, that's all he's ever known her as. So seeing Mia all grown up, it's a lot more of a different relationship. But with William, he knew him when he was, basically a mid-teen, something like that, how old William was, about 13, 14, something like that. So we kind of knew that kind of relationship, and given the fact that William he hasn't been the most kind to Oliver and Felicity ever since he left, because obviously he feels like they kind of abandoned him, they never reached out to him, things like that, which is very true. I was very excited to see that. Now, these scenes between Oliver and William were great. I think they were really fantastic. Stephen Amell and Ben Lewis really pulled this off. I really felt like, this version of William is the exact same version that we saw back, in season 5, season 6. It really felt like that character, and his interaction with Oliver really felt like that. They were heartfelt, they were true to life. The coming out scene with William, the fact that Oliver said that he, him and Felicity always knew that he was gay, but they wanted to wait for the right time, things like that for him, for William to come out to them. Lovely scene there. And just great energy between them. I was expecting William to actually be a bit more hostile, but I'm kind of glad that he wasn't, because although I feel like there was definitely justification for him being hostile, I quite like the fact that he was kind of just respectful of Oliver and kind of was like, respectful of the situation. I think it was really good for him to be like that, and I think it just showed the maturity of William's character, and also showed why I think William is probably the best character out of the Flash Forwards group. I think he's really strong. I really like Ben Lewis, and these scenes really prove that to me. Now, of course, the one that everyone sort of had their eye on was Oliver and Mia. Oliver first meeting Mia properly. This was, a lot of people gave Kat McNamara quite a bit of praise last week, given the fact, it was kind of like her best episode ever on the show. In this episode, she kind of goes back to that typical personality that we've seen her do ever since she was introduced in season 7. Mia is just honestly a dreadful character. I've said this before, but it's not that Kat McNamara is a bad actress. She's just really not good at playing this particular role. And, I don't think the character of Mia is well written. I don't think she's been well established. I think she came in, halfway through season 7, purely to set up the spin-off show, which she is unfortunately the lead of. And we just have to try and work with it, and we're just kind of stuck with her now, and there's not really a lot we can do. So it's kind of annoying. The scenes between her and Oliver, she was instantly kind of hostile towards him, even though she really has nothing to do with Oliver. Like, William had a lot more justification to be hostile towards Oliver than Mia did, because Mia has never met Oliver really, whereas William has history with Oliver and actually has reasons to actually be mad at him. But Mia came across as aggravated and bratty and entitled, and it just comes across as poor writing, because again, I don't think Mia should be like that, especially what we saw in season 7, obviously we know she's against vigilantes and everything like that, but given what we saw develop in season 7 with her relationship with Felicity and things like that, I just don't buy it. And, you know, even in season 7, you know, there was always these times where she said she wished she knew her dad, and, you know, she wished she had this relationship with her dad. And now she has the chance to do that, and she's just being completely hostile towards him. I don't buy it. I think it's bad. I think it's poor writing. And also, Kat McNamara does not sell this role and these scenes whatsoever. Now, I was excited to see the Connor and Diggle stuff. Obviously, Connor being the adopted son of Diggle, I was excited to see how this was going to go down, because obviously sort of the major villain we have in the flash forwards is JJ, which is obviously Diggle's biological son. So he has to not only tell Diggle that his son in the future is going to become the leader of the Deathstroke gang, but he also has to tell Renee that Diggle's son killed his daughter. Obviously with the death of Zoe last week. This was great because Connor, I think, is very interesting as well, given the fact that he's the kid of Bronze Tiger, he was adopted by Diggle, and now he's kind of become his own character. Even though I still think the casting of the character is terrible, not because of Joseph David Jones, I think he's great, just obviously with the whole Connor Hawke on Legends of Tomorrow thing, I think it's so just bizarre. But I think that Connor is a really good character, and I like his interactions here with Diggle, because Diggle is basically just saying, like, you know, you're basically showing up out of nowhere. I have no plans to adopt any kids, and you're just telling me that I've adopted you. Like, how, you know, you're just kind of like bringing this up, and you expect me just to like be okay with you straight away. And then you're also just telling me that my son is actually evil. And it makes Diggle feel like he's failed as a father, because obviously his son is going to go down the path of, you know, going down the villain side, and, you know, he's going to focus all of his love and attention on this other kid who isn't even his. So it's kind of crazy that these scenes kind of happened, and I liked the conflict. I was expecting, honestly, to have a bit more calmness, especially because Diggle is quite a calm, zen character. That's normally his role sort of within the show. But I like the fact that there was a bit more tension between Connor and Diggle, and there should have been, because there was a lot going on there, and I think that their scenes together worked really well. David Ramsey was great, and Joseph David Jones was equally great, and I think that they really sold it. Now, what I was very excited to see was the confession that JJ had killed Zoe, who is, of course, Renee's daughter, and how they had to communicate that. And this was fun as well, because they actually have to have a bit of tension between Renee and Diggle. Renee is like, you know, you need to look after your son, because if you don't, he's going to kill my daughter in the future. Really good stuff. You know, especially because we haven't actually seen Renee and Dinah this season, except for the Earth 2 versions, which we got in episode 1. We haven't actually seen our versions of Renee and Dinah at all this season until now. And it was really great just to actually see Renee get some good moments like this. Like, this was a really great episode for Renee, and he got some great moments. And also, what was really cool about Renee is that he actually starts running for mayor in this episode. We get to see him do a big speech, which was really well done. I think Rick Gonzalez was great here. He did a really good job of just selling the fact of how passionate he is about, you know, fixing the Glades and, you know, being there for the Glades. It was great to see that, and again, it really sets up this path that he's going to go down. And I like the kind of thing they got into about him and Dinah. You know, they were saying, you know, yes, this is the future, but, you know, why can't we start changing the future now, and why are we waiting for things to happen? I think that was really good, and it just kind of made Renee step up as a character, which I think was a nice development. Also, we had Curtis back in this episode, and it was fun to have Curtis back. He has a beard now. I don't really understand why Curtis ever left the show, because he's showed up twice in very quick succession after he left the show, but it was nice to have him. He got some really funny lines here, some great moments with the new team, especially with William, and I really enjoyed his presence here. You know, we always like having Curtis back. Now, the Deathstrokes also returned in this episode. I'm not exactly sure if these are the Deathstrokes from the future, or if this is in present day. I'm pretty sure it's present day. I'm pretty sure these Deathstrokes are from present day. But obviously, the big kind of speculation going into this episode is who is going to be the leader, because is it JJ? Has he come back? Or is it going to be someone else? And it actually turned out to be someone else. It turned out to be Grant Wilson, who is, of course, the other son of Slade. Now, this is kind of weird, because we've never actually seen Grant on Arrow. The only time we've ever seen Grant was in that episode of Legends of Tomorrow into Future Star City. That's the only time we've ever seen Grant on Arrow, or in the Arrowverse in general. We've never seen him on Arrow before. So they got the same actor who played him on Legends. They brought him back, and it was cool to have him there. I mean, I think it's very unlikely that Slade is going to come back this season, unfortunately. I just don't think it's going to happen. It seems very unlikely at this point. He might come back, but given the fact that they are literally filming the series finale right now and they're close to finishing, I don't see where Slade's going to come in. Unless they have got him and they just haven't announced it, who knows? It might be a nice surprise, because Slade is like the one character everyone wants. So maybe they're keeping it as a surprise. But if we don't get him, we did get his son, Grant Wilson. And I think it was cool to have him here because we find out that he actually trained JJ. He's the one who trained JJ to become the successor to him and become the leader of the Deathstrokes after he had moved on. So this was cool. And having Grant in the universe, having him there in a Deathstroke suit was nice. And again, we got to see like Oliver fighting Deathstroke, which in a way, which was really cool. So yeah, I like the idea of, you know, Grant being Deathstroke. It's a lot better than JJ in my opinion. I still don't like the idea of the Deathstroke gang. I still think it's a stupid idea. But you know, my big complaint with the Deathstroke gang back when it was first introduced was, you know, why is this a thing? You know, Slade isn't even a bad guy anymore. Deathstroke hasn't been around for a while. Because we never really knew the origins of it. And I thought JJ maybe created the gang, and I thought, well, that makes no sense. But if Grant actually is the one who created it, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like the son of Slade creating the Deathstroke gang, you know, him wanting to carry on his father's legacy, as it were, that actually adds a lot more depth to it in context, and that makes a lot more sense. So I'm actually a bit easier on the eyes when it comes to the Deathstroke gang now. We also got some slight setup and teasers for the Green Arrow and the Canaries spin-off show. We basically just got a lot of scenes with Laurel and Mia. Obviously, Mia being the main character of the show, and Laurel is going to be a co-star. Like I said, these are fine. I think these are just obviously trying to establish the relationship between Laurel and Mia. I honestly wish the show was about Laurel, not Mia, but whatever. These scenes were fine. I don't know. Every time I see Mia, I just, like, tune out. So I'm not looking forward to the spin-off particularly because of her. But, like I say, Laurel was great. Katie Cassidy was great. So, whatever. As long as Katie Cassidy is there, I'm sure we'll stay afloat. Now, the final scene of this episode, we see Laurel leaving the SCPD after beginning to form the Canaries with Dinah. And she is actually approached by the Monitor. Now, she got a great line with him talking about how, like, she instantly knew it was him. That was great. Delivery by Katie Cassidy was fantastic. But he basically says to her that, you know, he can restore Earth 2. Obviously, Earth 2 got destroyed back in episode 1. He's saying he can restore Earth 2, but she has to do something for him, and that thing is betraying Oliver Queen. I don't know if I like this idea, just because we've seen Laurel, you know, especially this version of Laurel, we've seen her betray Oliver multiple times. You know, we've seen her, you know, she started off evil. The whole point of Season 7 was the redemption of Laurel. I don't like the idea of her going up against Oliver again. I mean, obviously, this is kind of different. This is, like, the Monitor doing things, but, like, I don't like the idea of it, just because it comes across as lazy doing this again. I think if they were going to do it, they should have done it with another character. Like, they should have done it with, like, Renee or Dinah or something, rather than Laurel, but whatever. It'll probably only be like a one episode thing anyway. It's not going to last super long. We know Laurel probably won't become like super evil ever again, especially because, you know, she is going to be in the Green Arrow and Canary show, so she's going to stick around. Obviously, it just depends on what this thing is. Maybe she has to do something that really is going to affect Oliver. I don't know. But we kind of get this impression in this episode that Laurel isn't exactly a big fan of Oliver, which you can understand, but at this point, she's been working with him for a while. You know, she helped him get out of prison. She must like him more, you know, enough. So, you know, I don't really buy the fact that she's going to be so easy to swing in order to do this, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Laurel could have something up her sleeve in regards to the Monitor, like in finding out who he is and maybe working against him. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't like the idea of this, but we'll see where it goes. Overall, though, I actually thought this was a great episode of Arrow and a great episode for this season. This is my second favourite episode of the season, just behind episode 1. I've seen a lot of people actually not liking this episode. It seems to be the least popular episode so far, which I find kind of strange. I actually really liked this episode. I thought it was really good. Again, we got the kids in the present day, which I thought was going to mess up the show, and it does kind of break the continuity a bit. It does kind of break the law of the Arrowverse in a way, in regards to time travel and stuff like that. Because technically characters like William and Connor being in this time could be really dangerous. Mia's not as dangerous, but William and Connor could really be dangerous if the two Williams ever cross paths. That would be kind of mental, and it would definitely break, time travel rules. But overall, I think it created some really good scenes, and I enjoyed these scenes. And again, bringing in Grant Wilson was a nice addition. I liked having him there. It extended the Wilson family. And again, bringing back the same actor who played him on Legends was a nice touch. Getting some setup for the spin-off. This is kind of like leading into that backdoor pilot that we're going to get in episode 9. I just think this episode had a lot really good stuff in it. Again, there are some other stuff that's not so great, like Mia is really bad in this episode once again. You know, we thought maybe she was going to change after the last episode, but no, she's exactly the same once again. And again, I don't really love the ending with the Monitor and Laurel, but we'll see how it goes. But overall, I thought this was a good episode. I liked it, and I think it is my second favourite episode of the season so far, just behind the premiere. So thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, it'll help me out a lot. And share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legend of Tomorrow, and Arrow. And with all that said guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.